only 10 when we played our last game of hide and seek. That summer evening still smells like dust, rain, and fear. It was the last day before school reopened. We played in the old neighborhood playground, the one with broken swings, half-dead grass, and the burnt tree no one touched. There were 5 of us: Ali, Sana, Hamza, me, and Zain. Zain was the smallest, but he was the best at hiding. He'd squeeze himself into impossible spaces, under benches, behind walls, once even inside the old train tunnel. That night, it was his turn to hide again. I remember shouting, "Ready or not, here we come." We ran. We searched everywhere, the swings, the walls, even the train tunnel. But Zain didn't answer. We called his name again and again. No footsteps, no giggle, just the wind brushing the swings. An hour passed, then 2. By the time our parents came looking, the whole street was awake. They found his shoe, one lying near the burnt tree, but they never found Zain. 15 years later, I moved back to that neighborhood. Same broken swings, same burnt tree, only the air felt heavier. That night, as I unpacked boxes, someone knocked at my window. 3 soft taps. When I looked up, there was a dusty old note stuck to the glass. In crooked handwriting, it said, "Your turn to hide." I didn't sleep that night. The note still lay on my desk, folded, dirty, written in that same shaky handwriting. I told myself it was a prank. Someone from the neighborhood must have remembered that old story. That's what I told myself. But around 2:37 a.m., the sound started. A faint creak, like metal bending under slow weight. The kind of sound an old swing makes when someone's sitting on it. I looked outside. The playground was empty, but the swing was moving, back and forth, slow, steady. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and stepped outside. The night was too quiet. Even the dogs had stopped barking. Each step closer made my chest heavier. When I finally reached the swing, it stopped, perfectly still, like it knew I was there. Then a voice whispered from underneath it, low, breathless, childlike, "You never found me." My throat froze. I bent down, trembling, trying to see beneath the seat. Nothing but mud. But the ground looked disturbed. Small handprints pressed deep into the dirt. 5 fingers. Tiny. When I stumbled back, I noticed something I hadn't before. Another note tied to the swing chain. It said, "Count to 10, and don't look up." The note's paper felt damp, like it had been buried in the mud for years. The words, "Count to 10 and don't look up," were scratched into it, almost carved, like someone had pressed too hard with a broken pencil. I should have thrown it away, but I didn't. Something inside me whispered, "You owe him." I turned around, looking at the burnt tree, the same one where they'd found Zain's shoe. Its branches looked like twisted arms reaching into the fog, and for a second, I swore I saw something hanging from one of them, something small swaying gently. But when the wind blew, it vanished. I took a deep breath, and then I started to count. 1. The air turned colder. 2. The swing moved again, though I wasn't touching it. 3. Something whispered through the grass, fast, like tiny footsteps running circles around me. 4. The sound stopped, completely. Even the crickets went silent. I froze, my lips barely moving. 5. The silence broke with a giggle. That same voice, soft, wet, childlike. "You're getting warmer." My eyes burned with the urge to look up, but I remembered the note. "Don't look up. 6. I could hear breathing now, right above me. Slow, dragon breaths, like someone hanging upside down, their face inches from mine. The air smelled of mud and something sweet, like decayed fruit. 7. The voice moved closer to my ear. Why didn't you find me? I felt something cold brush my hair. I wanted to run, but my body felt locked, like the night itself was holding me still. 8. The swing's chains rattled violently. 9. I heard that same sound, the creak of rope, from the direction of the burnt tree. I clenched my fists and whispered, barely breathing, 10. The air snapped. Something fell behind me. A thud, small but heavy. I turned, and my flashlight flickered. There was a shoe lying in the dirt, the same kind, the same size, covered in fresh mud, and right next to it, a set of small footprints leading toward my house. I didn't notice until later. The footprints didn't start from anywhere. They started from right where I was standing. I ran home that night without turning back. The wind followed me. Or maybe it was the sound of those tiny footsteps keeping pace with mine. When I shut the door behind me, the echo felt wrong, like the sound didn't stop where it should have. It carried on, through the walls, through the floorboards, like something else had come in with me. I locked the door twice, then stood there, breathing hard. Outside, the swing chains still rattled, but softer now, like a lullaby. I turned off all the lights except one, the small lamp on the table where the old note still lay. Mud had dried on the paper. When I picked it up, flakes of dirt fell off onto my fingers. Underneath the original message, "Count to 10 and Don T look up," there was something else written faintly, as if it appeared later. It said, "Your turn to hide. Inside." I didn't understand it at first, but then, somewhere deep in the hallway, I heard the floor creak, a single step, like a child shifting their weight from one foot to the other. My heart started hammering. I turned off the lamp. The whole house fell into that strange, half-dark, half-memory kind of silence, the kind where you almost start hearing voices from the past. I walked toward the noise, flashlight trembling in my hand. The air smelled faintly of wet soil again, and something else, something familiar, old chocolate, that same cheap candy we used to buy after every game, Zain's favorite. I followed the smell to the living room, and there, beneath the couch, lay a single candy wrapper. My throat tightened. I hadn't eaten that in years. Then, my phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a notification. "Unknown. Number. Ready or not, here I come." The same words we used to yell as kids. Only this time, I hadn't hidden. I turned slowly toward the hallway mirror, and for the first time I realized the reflection in the glass wasn't copying me perfectly. My body was still, but in the mirror, I was slowly raising my hand, and behind that reflection, behind me, was a small figure crouched in the corner, bare feet, mud dripping from his fingers, a small grin that didn't belong to this world anymore. He whispered something, but only my reflection's lips moved in response. "Found you." The air felt heavier, like the room had turned into something else, not mine anymore, just a place remembering what happened here long ago. The mirror still held my reflection wrong. That small, crouched figure behind me didn't blink. His eyes glowed faintly, not white, not red, just empty, like light passing through water. I turned around. Nothing there, just the smell of wet earth. When I looked back at the mirror, the boy was gone. but something else had appeared, writing on the glass, not written on it, but inside it, like trapped breath. "Do you want to play again?" My hand started shaking. I whispered, "Zane." The reflection nodded. For a moment, I wasn't in my house anymore. The air changed, warm, thick with dust and sunlight. Children's laughter echoed. The smell of summer grass filled the air. We were back at that playground, all 5 of us, laughing, running, hiding. I could see myself, younger, smaller, counting with my eyes closed beside the burnt tree. And there, behind the old bench, Zane crouched, smiling, waiting. Except now, in the reflection of memory, I could see it clearly. He wasn't hiding from us. He was hiding from something else, something standing behind the burnt tree, tall, shadowed, its face, wrong, almost human, but stretched too thin, like skin pulled over air. Zane turned toward it, eyes wide, and whispered something I couldn't hear. The memory rippled. The laughter stopped. And just like that, I was back in my living room. The mirror was empty again. Only the reflection of the window behind me showed movement, like a shadow running past outside. Then, a whisper from the dark, nodded. I ran to the door, pulled it open, nothing but fog. The playground across the street was gone. Just flat dirt, no swings, no tree. But when I looked down, there were small, muddy footprints leading away from my house. And next to them, written in the dirt with a stick, "Your turn to count." That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window till sunrise, counting without realizing it. 1, 2, 3, and somewhere far away, a child's voice answered, soft, echoing through the morning fog. "Ready or not?" The sound faded, but it didn't end, because sometimes games don't stop. They just wait for the next player to come home. It's been 3 nights since I last slept. The house has gone quiet now, too quiet, like even the walls are holding their breath. Every time I close my eyes, I hear counting. Soft, patient, endless. Sometimes it's a child's voice. Sometimes it sounds like mine. I tried leaving. I packed my things, reached the front door. But the moment I turned the handle, something whispered right behind my ear, "That's not how the game ends." I froze. The handle grew cold under my hand, and I realized the truth I'd been trying to ignore since that night at the swing. This house isn't haunted. I am. Zane never left the playground. He stayed there, trapped in the last game he ever played. And now, he's found someone new to play with. Someone who never stopped searching for him. Sometimes, in the early hours of dawn, I hear the faint creak of a swing outside. And I know it's him. Not angry, just waiting. Because to him, I never came to find him. I just kept hiding. Last night I finally whispered back, "Okay, your turn to hide." The wind moved, the swing stopped, and for the first time, the voice didn't answer. Only silence. Heavy, peaceful, almost kind. They'll find this note one day, maybe tucked under the old burnt tree, or behind the mirror in this house. And if they do, I just hope they don't read it out loud, because the moment they do, the game begins again. Ready or not.